This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 191 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Binge or not to binge a Star Wars TV series?
Ooh.
The very first time I took a flight was the scariest flight I had ever had.
Short of having real wings, you make the perfect Tinkerbell.
I live in Neverland.
Whoa.
That's where my head is. It's always in Neverland.
And if you don't get your remote fast enough, you're watching the next episode whether you like it or not.
And of course, there's been times that I didn't make it across. Over the years, I had all these different wands. One year, I had a Darth Vader wand.
What?
What? How?
You had a lightsaber?
So you were Jedi Tink before I was Jedi Tink?
Yes, I was.
Are you ready?
Off to Neverland!
Here we go!
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets lab.
It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Never Land that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! Are you ready to wish upon a Tinkerbell? If you are, then boy, do we have a show for you. But first, we want to welcome you all to
Skywalking Through Neverland.
We are your podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars and Disney fandom. I am Richard Woloski, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, who's all snuggly right over here, being now nice and warm.
It is. Oh, I love this cold weather. It makes us get all snuggly. I just love it. I love it. I love, sitting in front of the couch watching Stranger Things 2 with our fire going so that if the Upside Down comes, we have a fire ready to go because the Upside Down doesn't like the heat. So I love that. So hello, everyone. Hello, our Star Wars and Disney family. Thank you for joining us today. And we want to give you a big, warm, and fuzzy Wookiee hug. So thank you for listening to the show every week. If you're just joining us, if this is your first show that you're listening to, welcome. You are now a Skywalker. And I want to give a big shout out to those SkyTubers over here on YouTube who are watching us live, and also the
face huggers
who are watching us on Facebook Live. Thank you guys. We have a few watchers right now. It's very exciting. And you can tweet at us while you listen. We are at Skywalking Pod, and we love it when you share our joy in this adventure through fandom.
Now, we are recording this from Long Beach, California on November the 15th, 2017. Now, Sarah, or should I say Minnie, what time is it?
It's 10:28. Good morning.
Now, you know what? The watch updated to have Buzz and Woody and Jessi on the watch, but unfortunately they don't talk.
Oh, boo.
I know. I would love to have Jessi go, all right, you varmints, it's blah, blah, blah o'clock.
I want to hear Buzz tell me what time it is. In that Buzz Lightyear voice.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be.
Oh, but unfortunately, no.
Now, coming up on this very special episode, we're going to be talking with Gina Rock, who was the longest flying Tinkerbell in Disneyland history.
Yeah, she would fly during the fireworks show.
From 1983 until 2005.
Wow.
I wonder if Tinkerbell ever got stuck in mid-flight. And what would she have done if she had? It almost sounds like I'm foreshadowing a very exciting story.
Yes.
So this is what, our second Tinkerbell we have on the show?
Mm-hmm.
So next we just need Mae Whitman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do. I'm excited.
Now, we also have shout-outs, a Skywalker of the Week. Thank you very much, Rob Dellinger. But now, here are things we want to share.
Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share.
Now, I know what everyone was thinking last week. We need more Star Wars. Well, Disney heard your pleas and answered them in vast quantities. Disney Chairman and CEO Bob Iger announced some pretty big news during the company's full year and fourth quarter earnings call.
Not only was a new trilogy with new characters being helmed by Rian Johnson announced, but a live-action Star Wars series!
About time! It's only been 25 years since they first announced this.
Wow. This is among the many projects in the works for Walt Disney's direct-to-consumer subscription streaming video service set to launch in 2019, according to company CEO Robert Iger.
So the streaming service will launch in 2019, and it's almost implied that a Star Wars TV series will roll out at the same time.
Right.
I mean, you're going to hit a huge subscription number.
Oh, yeah.
If those two go hand in hand.
Well, also, if the subscription service includes access to some of those older Disney films, like the 70s, the 60s.
Oh, the Step in Time movies.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good way for Disney, for younger fans to get to know some of these older movies that Disney had put out.
And plus, this streaming service will just wipe Netflix off the map.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
to some people.
Yeah.
To some people.
It depends on how much it'll cost, honestly.
Well, they're saying it's going to cost less than Netflix's $10.99 a month.
Yes.
Because they don't have as much content.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Wow.
Because now that Disney might be buying Fox, it'll have access to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So just having that right there. And if they stream the original theatrical version, you can do that on a loop 24/7 for 2 weeks.
That's very true.
It will be huge. And plus, with all of the past Disney archives, you have the short films, you have the World of Disney TV show. There's an infinite amount of Disney product out there that they can stream. Go to YouTube. Disney, go to YouTube. You'll find all your content right there.
Yeah.
Now, moving on. Rian Johnson will develop a new trilogy separate from the Skywalker saga. The first of which he will write and direct.
Okay.
All right, let's take that apart.
Okay.
The Last Jedi hasn't come out yet.
No.
And they're already handing him the keys to the kingdom. Why do you think that is?
Well, obviously, people higher up in Lucasfilm have a lot of confidence in Rian Johnson and decided to make this announcement now. I'm wondering why they decided to make this announcement now. I mean, I guess it was during the quarterly earnings call, so stock went up.
Yeah. Pretty much when you have no answer to a question, it always goes back to a business reason.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think, God love Ryan. Maybe he was the yes man they were looking for. Whereas Josh Trank and Chris Miller and the other Han Solo guy, ex-director, they were, no, I gotta do my own vision. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be it.
I don't think he's honestly a yes man. I think he had a lot to contribute.
Oh, I think he had a ton to contribute. But I think he knew what his place was in the hierarchy, that if Kathleen says, no, you can't do that, he was, yeah, okay, I won't do that. I think he was very, very smart about it. We're going to see his stamp on The Last Jedi, and I am thrilled beyond belief because of the rumors that, not just rumors, but the stories that this is going to be such a different kind of film. It's going to take a while for fans to really grasp this as something that's set in the Star Wars universe, because it'll have such a tremendously different feel to it.
You think?
Oh, yeah, big time. And looking back at his Looper film, looking back at his Breaking Bad episodes, he does have a distinct directorial stamp. And that combined with the fact that he can work well with the studio, like, you know what, Ryan, we have no trouble with you. There was no trouble on The Last Jedi. If you want this, you know what? Take it. The new trilogy is all yours. So Ryan had been playing the long game, and guess what? He won.
He won the big keys to the kingdom. Now, are we talking about this? Like, can we give our opinions?
Oh, sure,
some of this?
sure. But let's first take apart this.
Okay.
That it's a new trilogy separate from the Skywalker saga.
So does this mean that it's going to be in the same time frame? Or does that even mean we're going to a different time in the Star Wars galaxy? And what I mean by that is perhaps like the Old Republic.
Now, I think if they're going to jump around the timeline, that will really confuse people. That's really, really going to confuse the casual fan, and they'll have no idea what's going on. They'll be so lost. I think people coming into Rogue One and saw Darth Vader are thinking, hey, you know what? Didn't Darth Vader die in the third film, episode 6? And so I think they want to steer so clear from that.
So maybe they're going into the unknown regions.
Oh, definitely.
Which would be neat.
That's the whole thing.
That's what you think?
Yeah, they're going to just wipe the slate clean and say, okay, do whatever you want because we're going to meet new characters, go to new locations that we've never seen before, which for better or for worse, I would like them to be connected to some of the worlds we have seen, because it gives you that connecting thread.
Right.
Like, my biggest thing about The Force Awakens is in Maz Kanata's castle, I would have liked to have seen an Ithorian or a Rodian or an Aqualish, something that would tie us to the previous Star Wars films.
Okay.
And I know they were saying it's a big galaxy, there's different aliens. Yeah, I get that. I get that in full force.
Well, I'm going out on a limb and saying that I think that the Rian Johnson trilogy will explore the unknown regions because, for one, they've been teased in the canon. So like in the Thrawn novel, you get this whole idea of the unknown regions and how the Emperor is interested in them. And then Snoke is said to have come from the unknown regions, right?
There you go.
And so it's been teased a little bit, and now there's going to be a new Thrawn novel as well. And I think even though Rian Johnson's trilogy is going to be a separate universe, or not a separate universe, but a separate story, I think it will be exciting if it ties in somehow to our stories here.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
If we tied into Thrawn. I know they want to do all new characters so they can just start fresh.
Right.
But I still want to see some reoccurring characters.
Okay.
Now, Randy Martinez just said some French Expressionism films.
He wants it to be a French Expressionism trilogy.
All Fellini-esque films. That's as much as I would love to see that. I'm not sure how that would fly with the younger audiences.
And Patty Hammond thinks the Unknown Regions would be a good start for that trilogy. Now, let's see. David Iger and Christopher Marino think that the Old Republic would be awesome. Which I know, I'm like of two minds with that, because I think the Old Republic would be awesome too, having read some of the Expanded Universe novels about that. It's a really exciting time period.
Right. But for films, I doubt they'll go there. And they won't call it the Old Republic because that'll turn a lot of fans off. A lot of the newer fans. So maybe that for the TV, they'll save that for the TV series.
Okay.
Now, Rian Johnson is going to develop this new trilogy. He's going to write and direct the first film. Now, keep in mind, this is not going to be episode 10 through 12. They're going to keep this so separate.
Right.
Now, let's think about this, episodes 10 through 12.
Okay.
Those episodes are going to be purely Skywalker saga driven.
Well, and those have not been announced, so are we just conjecturing that they'll happen?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
So this new trilogy will not be 10, 11, and 12.
Right.
So in the bigger picture, is that going to confuse people? Now, I know that's a big issue over there at Lucasfilm and Disney, which is why they pulled detours, because they don't want to confuse the younger fans when they see a goofy Darth Vader or Emperor, and then seeing the films, that won't make any sense. So how do you think, Sarah, that's going to play having a new trilogy, having standalone films, and continuing on with episodes 10, 11, 12?
Well, I think there'll be a nice break between now this episode 9 and episodes 10, 11, 12, even if it's like another 10-year break, although I don't see Disney holding out that long.
Disney can't go 10 days.
I know, but So if there's a nice break between these trilogies, I don't think it'll be as confusing. However, it's hard for me to get in the mindset of a new Star Wars fan, let's say, who doesn't quite have a grasp on all these timelines and trilogies just because we're so immersed in Star Wars.
Right, and that's the thing. We're so immersed that how do you separate films and TV shows and what's going to connect to what? So I think I don't have an answer for that, but I think they have a great challenge ahead of them. Now, before we move on, Sarah, do you want to see episodes 10, 11, 12, or do you want to see them stop the Skywalker saga at 9?
I'll go back to what I've said before, and that is, if you get too many films and too many stories about the same people, the story becomes diluted and convoluted. It's like those TV shows that go on too long, for a couple seasons longer than they should. Instead of having a finite end, a finite clean finish to a story, you end up creating these loops, these character loops that they're forever stuck in the same problems. I mean, this is what you saw with Luke Skywalker and Han and Leia in the expanded universe novels, in the Legends. You know, the story just kept getting so convoluted. So I honestly hope that doesn't happen. And if we are going to get episodes 10, 11, 12, they'll continue the Skywalker saga, like, through different generations rather than the same people. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
You know, even if we find out that Rey is a Skywalker, then the Skywalker saga will continue with Rey.
Right.
And we'll go to, who was it? Darth Caedus, who ended up being Luke's grandson in one of the novels.
Oh, I don't remember.
He was still a Skywalker, but yet we continued the Skywalker journey just through different generations now. I would like to see that.
Okay. But my problem is the galaxy will never be at rest. It'll always be in unrest, because otherwise the stories would get boring. Don't you think?
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, without conflict, there is no stories.
Right.
But now, let's turn our attention to the Facebook group and what they had to say on the new films and TV series.
Okay.
Now, let's start with Jeremy Hunt.
All right. So, Jeremy Hunt said, "My first thought is that what kind of a job must Rian have done for Kathleen Kennedy to have handed him the keys to the new trilogy?"
Yeah, we just talked about that, so I think he's going to do an exceptional job, and I think he's a very smart man to do a good job and know how to work in the system. Now, Din Skysinger says, "Holy," and finally makes sense why Rian Johnson turned down episode 9. I think that's just happenstance. Well, you know what? You never know. They made the announcement last week, but that could have been internal back in July. So, Dan, you might be right about that. You might be exactly right about that.
Yeah. And Tom Hodges also agrees that that's some serious confidence in a guy. TLJ might be the masterpiece we're hoping for. So, The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tom Hodges is also championing an Old Republic TV series. Or
well, would it be TV series or would it be the trilogy?
I don't think it's going to be a trilogy, just because we're time jumping way too much. Whereas in the TV series, we can time jump a little bit easier.
Okay.
Now, for the Old Republic as a TV series, we're talking some Game of Thrones production value.
Yeah, you know what? That would lend itself to a TV series very well.
Yeah, I mean, right after the Sith trying to come back after the Great Hyperspace War, and everything's all at the unrest. The Republic and the Jedi are all licking their wounds and trying to figure out what's going on, and the struggle for power, just like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So that would be exciting. I've never played those video games.
Wait, where are you thinking in the timeline it would be?
For the TV series?
Yeah.
I've got no idea.
Well, no, but what were you, like, Knights of the Old Republic? Were you thinking of...
That's thousands and thousands of years before...
Right.
Like over 3,500 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of neat.
It would be very, very neat. But that, like with the Marvel series, they could have different arms. Like they have Punisher, Daredevil, Luke Cage. So I could see different series going on.
Okay, well, Rachel Crouch actually thinks like you. My hopes are for the new TV series to be more Knights of the Old Republic-esque, but I don't want to get my hopes up too high, like Game of Thrones.
Very, very much. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It would have to be.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, Kai Charles says, this is what I've been waiting for. I really hope this allows for more diverse characters and stories. I've never held a lack of diversity against the prequels or the original trilogy, but they truly have a blank slate now. Oh, they do for the TV series and the films.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Kai. I'm excited to see where that could go.
Yeah, I could see an all-female series like Forces of Destiny, or we could go into the diverse backgrounds of some of the characters and maybe explore Paige from Last Jedi, her backstory.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're right, Kai. The possibilities are endless, and they've only been working on this for 25 years. So come on, guys, let's finally do this.
Wow. All right. So Brian Sims is kind of worried because he thinks that they just told us this is the end of the Skywalker story. I, for one, am not thrilled with what might have been said by not saying anything. We knew it was going to continue. Now we know who will lead the charge forward. So Brian Sims is thinking that by saying that they're going to come out with a new trilogy that doesn't follow the Skywalker saga, that they won't continue the Skywalker saga. Now, do you think that?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. Because
well,
like Brian,
I said, I don't think they will.
No.
Because I think Disney can make a lot more money by having the Skywalker saga.
They may introduce other Skywalker characters within the other films too, just not as prevalent. So yeah, so the possibilities, once again, I can't stop saying this, are endless, which makes it so exciting. Now Scott Hume says, which is what I think Sarah you were saying, or someone on social media, I think they need to rest the Skywalker saga for a few years after Episode 9. And then bring Rey and whoever else is still alive back after Ryan's trilogy. So yeah, a rest is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And piggybacking off of that, Randy Martinez says, congratulations to Rian Johnson. Good for him. A new trilogy isn't really news, because, come on, we all knew this. Disney didn't buy Lucasfilm to make a few movies, then stop. I would just hope they would slow down on the releases. I'm for that. Seriously, let people take in and digest the movies and build anticipation for the next one. Not only would they curb a lot of the Star Wars fatigue that many are feeling, but I do believe it's a better business model to build anticipation. I couldn't agree more. However, I can see Disney's side of it where there's so much content coming out for other properties.
Right.
They got to keep that going.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've broken even on their $4.1 billion investment. They've got to keep their stockholders happy. They've got to keep Star Wars at the forefront of everything.
It's true. Merchandise or TV shows or whatever.
Animated series. So there's valid points on both. Just depends on your point of view. Now, I think before we wrap this up, we should ask, binge or not to binge a Star Wars TV series?
Ooh.
That's because we just watched Stranger Things 2 over, 3 days? And I know next week, I'm going to forget, wait a minute, who was the demi-dogs? Where did 11 end up? And who ended up with who? And you watch them so quickly.
Right.
Like Randy said, you can't really digest it. So, like with Rebels, when one episode is over, we can't wait for the next week, and we have time to digest and think and talk about the previous episode.
Like the social media talk between each week, I think is very important. So I hope, honestly, that if we do binge, it's like 4 episodes at a time or something like that. It's not the whole series.
David Iger says, binge. Brian Sims says on Facebook,
no!
But no to what, Brian? No to binging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No to binging.
I just don't think binging is a good idea.
Yeah, because it doesn't allow for the conversation to build and the anticipation to build, as we're saying. And I think a lot of Star Wars is the anticipation, which was born out of really how movies were made back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
The only social media you got was going out in the playground and talking to your friends socially.
But see, now the problem with this is we...
Hold on. Randall Gobiel said, binge on repeat.
Now, the whole problem with this is Disney will cater to that 18 to 24-year-old market for some things, and that younger generation is into the binge thing. It's into the bam, bam, slam, bam, immediate gratification. And so I think overall, they're not going to listen to us older fans now. Now we're part of the older generation. They're going to be... The culture is changing. Oh, basically.
Yeah. So on a daily basis.
And in order to be relevant, Disney has to stay relevant and go with the culture that is the prevalent culture of the time.
Yeah, Randy Martinez just pointed out on Facebook as well that you don't have to binge. You don't have to binge if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. So that's true. A good point. However, when you've just finished watching an episode with a death-defying cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, and then also, you know what? We were watching Stranger Things 2, and we'd finished with one episode, and 5, 4, 3, 2, the next episode would automatically play, and we're just sitting there, and if you don't get your remote fast enough, you're watching the next episode whether you like it or not. And even at the end of Stranger Things 2 last night, it was pretty late, but all of a sudden it started automatically playing... What's it called? Stranger Things?
Oh, Beyond Stranger Things.
Beyond Stranger Things. So it was like a behind the scenes, and we found ourselves watching one of these 20-minute shows too, right after we had finished the series. So there's no time to digest and talk about it. You're just watching the next thing.
Well, and plus, at the very last episode, you've watched 9 hours later, then you have what? A whole another year and a half till the show comes out again. Mm-hmm. And by that time, once again, you're going to forget major plot points or where was that character. I know you can go back and watch the previous season, but you know
who's got time for that?
Who's got time for that? I ain't got time for that.
I certainly don't. Oh.
Yeah, Randy also points out that no one teaches self-control anymore. Self-control.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means anymore. All right, so any more to add to that?
I think for now, we've talked that up.
Yeah, even with Rebels, when there's 2 episodes on back to back, we don't wait a week to watch the next one. We just do it. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
So therefore, Randy, I don't have any self-control myself, and I'm not one of those millennials.
Yeah, but Joshua Wong states, "Control. You must learn control."
I guess
not anymore.
I guess I'll never be a Jedi.
Yep. Well, you know what? We want to thank you, Skywalkers, for weighing in both live and then also in our Facebook group. You know, we had posted this article. I believe Donald Wicks posted this, and you guys all had a ton of comments. So once again, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, Skywalkers, it's a great way to weigh in on comments and be on the show, and also just get to know other Skywalkers and their comments as well.
Right. Brian Sims just weighed in with, great question, who is Star Wars for now, from Disney's point of view? Boy, that's, you know what? I'm going to table that because that's its own show right there. And I've got lots to say on that. But, you know, we got Gina Rock to talk to in a few minutes. But before we do that, Sarah, there's some other Disney news coming up for next year.
I thought this was very interesting. This was an announcement that came out on Monday, November 13th. And they are debuting at Disneyland a new Disneyland After Dark event series. So... if you don't know what this is, basically this is going to be a ticketed event. So even if you're an annual pass holder, you will have to buy a separate ticket for this evening event at Disneyland. This first After Dark event is happening January 18th, and it's celebrating vintage Disneyland. So guess what? Disneyland has taken Dapper Day, which is a fan-run thing, and decided to capitalize on it and make some money.
That's the Disney way.
I was like, oh, wow. I kind of give props to Disney for, taking advantage of this.
But is it just going to focus on the Dapper side of it? Or will they go into celebrating vintage Disney?
They're going to have different themes. So, for these events.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, this first event will be stepping back in time to the 50s and 60s for a taste of the classic After Dark experience at Disneyland. So, what they're going to do is, it's like Dapper Night, almost. So, it says, come dressed in your best to enjoy the happiest place on Earth under 1 million twinkling lights. And all throughout Disneyland, they're going to be playing big band music, which I'm excited about that. And it's going to go till 1 a.m. So you're going to be at Disneyland late.
Oh,
in our dapper outfits.
You know how I feel about vintage and classic and retro? I'm all over it. So this is so exciting.
Yeah, and also a part of this event, once again, it's a ticketed event. Now, they have not announced prices, but I'm assuming it's like going to be in that 80 to 120 range, you know, like all these other events that have been happening. I know. No, it will be.
So we'll watch it on Periscope?
Yeah, right. All right. But what they're going to have, they're going to have on display original attraction posters of Disneyland experiences from yesteryear. Oh. So some of this stuff we've been looking at in like Tomorrowland, like the Monsanto House of the Future, World of Tomorrow, something like that. That sounds exciting. And they're going to have special photo locations, of course, with unlimited digital downloads that are included with your event admission. So automatically, that's probably $100 right there. They're going to have live music and dancing. Ooh, so big bands will be there. And throughout the park. So probably not just only in that one, the plaza, the Princess Plaza right next to the castle.
Where the Rapunzel show is?
Yeah, they'll probably have them more in like the Tomorrowland area and stuff like that.
So exciting.
Yeah, and they're going to have an exclusive showing of Fantasy in the Sky fireworks, which that's the older fireworks show. Ooh.
Hence vintage.
Yes. And guess what? You'll be receiving a commemorative lanyard and a vintage inspired park map.
Ooh.
Yeah. That'll highlight the special experiences taking place throughout the evening. So it's called Throwback Night. Once again, it's on January 18th. And tickets are going to be available November 30th for annual pass holders, and then for the general public beginning December 7th. And just so you know, yeah, no ticket prices have been announced, which people are asking in the comments. If you look in the comments, what's the prices?
Well, we will be there, and we hope all you Skywalkers are there too. This will be so exciting. Vintage, retro music, dapper clothing, big bands.
I know what I'm going to wear if the ticket prices are within our budget.
Well,
it's right around your birthday.
Yes, it is. 2 days after my birthday.
What is that? It's the Rancho Obi-Wan outfit. The cute.
I know. I just wanted you to tell everybody.
Yes.
Now, if the Skywalkers do meet us at Disneyland for this event or any other event, do we have something for them?
Yes, we do. We're going to have our Porg BB-8 Mickey ears buttons. And if you happen to meet us anywhere for any of our where we will be places, our meetups, then you will get a button. And also, bonus, if you aren't going to be meeting us anywhere, or if you want to display Porg BB-8 Mickey ears design on something else, I have uploaded this design to TeePublic, and they have shirts, they have stickers, they have totes, they have mugs, they have pillows. There's like so many things that are available, even a tapestry. You can have a giant Porg tapestry.
Which I'm sure we're going to have at some point.
I know. And now is the time to head over to TeePublic because they're having a sale now through Cyber Monday. So this would be the week to buy. Right now there's $14 tees. Most things are like $10 off at least. So head over there, you guys. It's very exciting. And to head over there, you can go to any of our social media posts about TeePublic, or you can head to skywalkingthroughneverland.com and click on the Support Us tab.
Now, we only ordered 300 in this first shipping, so hopefully by January 18th...
The buttons?
Yeah, we'll have a few left, because these are very, very popular, according to you guys on social media and you girls.
And we are working on a way that you can actually order the buttons as well. So yeah, hopefully if you're not going to be around, you can order the buttons. You'd have to pay for it if you order them and we ship it to you, but we're working on that.
Yeah, and if you meet us at LosCon in a couple of weeks, November 26th, we'll have the buttons right there to give you Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And many, many prizes, but you'll hear about that at the end of the show.
All right, so now let's get into our discussion with Disneyland's Tinkerbell, Gina Rock. And a huge thanks to Joshua Schaefer, author of Discovering the Magic Kingdom, an unofficial Disneyland vacation guide, and our guest on episode 182.
Joshua, he's the manager for Gina, and so he got her on the show. So big thanks to Joshua. This man knows a lot of people and has his eye on a few more awesome upcoming Skywalking through Neverland guests in the future.
Woohoo!
So thank you, Josh. Now sit back and get ready to hear some very exciting stories from the longest flying Tinkerbell in Disneyland history, Gina Rock.
There have been many incarnations of Tinkerbell throughout the years. Margaret Carey was the animator's reference model in Disney's Peter Pan. Mae Whitman is the voice in the new animated series.
But when you wished upon the high-wire flying Tinkerbell between 1983 and 2005 at Disneyland, well, that was stunt performer Gina Rock. And now, Gina is with us today to talk about her career as the longest flying Tinkerbell in Disneyland history.
Hey, Gina!
Hi there. How you doing? It's so good to meet you guys for Skywalking. And how did you come up with the name Skywalking?
Well, we were trying to think what name could really embody Star Wars and Disney. And I knew I really wanted the name Skywalking.
Or Skywalker in there incorporated. So we came up with a huge list of different things, and Skywalking through Neverland won out because Tinkerbell is my favorite Disney character ever. So, yeah, so the fact that you are Tinkerbell is just so exciting, and that you're on the show. Like, we're just so excited to talk with you.
So that's 2 Tinkerbells we've had on the show.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. It's, now at the age of 60, which I probably should not reveal, but I think I just did. It's hard to believe that I had such a fabulous opportunity to do what I did, delighting children, and my dreams came true when I had the offer to do this job. I know that it just lit up my life, and then, the fireworks lit up the skies, and I just felt like I was in Neverland. I mean, it was so special, and it was an honor and a privilege to work for the park like that. And, it was a dream. It was a dream come true for me.
Well, you know what? Let's talk a little bit about that. How did you become Tinkerbell in 1983? What was that like? What was the audition process like? Or did you audition?
The whole process started probably with me realizing, as a circus performer, I had met Judy Kay, who had been Tinkerbell for many, many years. I had worked for her husband, who owned a circus, and I went overseas to Taiwan. And he told me that Judy Kay had been Tinkerbell. That was his ex-wife. For, I think, about 6 or 7 years, she did it. And he told me that they were taking the tower down and Tinkerbell wasn't flying, but I said, well, that would be the absolute perfect job for me. I said, I live in California, and that would just be my circus career turned Tinkerbell dream come true. And so he said, so I just hounded him. I'm like, do you know anything? Do you know anybody I can call? Do you know when they're going to put her back? No, I don't know any of that. Just get on the trapeze and go fly around. So at the time I was in Taiwan with a flying act. And I think he got kind of tired of me talking about wanting to be Tinkerbell. So he kind of shooed me off and told me to just concentrate on just flying around on the trapeze, and that's what I did. And so the seed was there. I had gone to the park, I think shortly after I left Taiwan, with that whole idea of being Tinkerbell. It started back then, and I think that was in 1981 when I went to Taiwan. And when I came back, I decided to inquire. So I went over to Disneyland and I went to Card Corner, and I just remember walking up to the desk. Now, Card Corner, of course, that was there. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I guess I should ask Joshua. He's Mr. Trivia, but Card Corner was still there, and that's where people walked in and got information.
So I kind of like City Hall, I guess, right now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, I don't know. I haven't been there in a little bit. I've been too busy traveling around doing disaster recovery. But I walked in there. Actually, I think it's the glass shop. The last time I was there was the glass shop.
Right, and it's still there.
Yeah, okay. Well, because I remember I used to love to buy things in there with Tinkerbell on it. So I had walked into Card Corner and I said, do you have any idea when they're going to put Tinkerbell back? I said, I know that she's been out for a few years because they've been building Fantasyland, and the gal that was behind the desk said, well, it just so happens to be that they're going to put her back in 6 months.
Oh, timing is everything.
I got this little tingle, and I'm like, oh, I mean, I couldn't run fast enough. Gather up my portfolio and start hounding whoever it is I needed to hound. So I've always been very aggressive in business, and I've always tried to pursue everything I've ever dreamed about. I've really pursued, especially circus performing and doing things that are not quite in the box, so to say, except for now. Now my career is kind of in the box. But so I went back home and I gathered up all of my pictures, and I had a portfolio full of pictures of me flying on the trapeze and working with Ringling Brothers and hanging by my neck and my feet and flying around. And I called up the Talent Resource Center, and I found out that they were indeed going to be talking to people about putting her back. By that time, it was 1982, and I believe it was it was before Christmas, because I remember it wasn't cold and they didn't have all the Christmas stuff up. Okay. And I called, and Stan Fries, who was the talent booking director at the time, of course, he was also the band leader, and he just retired, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, not too long ago.
So I went into, he said, well, I got him on the phone, and he said, well, actually, we're going to be talking to some gals about possibly filling this role, and, let me put your name in and give me some of your information. And I told him that I had started with Bob Yerkes, and I had learned how to fly trapeze and do aerial ballet, and I had joined Ringling Brothers. And he said, well, wow, you've got quite a career. He goes, can you send me some information? And I sent him some information, and then I got a call, I think about a month later. Somebody called and they said, would you like to come in for an interview? And I thought I was going to faint.
I bet.
Oh, this is really exciting. So I went in. At the time, I was not married yet, but I went in with Richard Rock, who I had married shortly after, and we went in for the interview, and I was pretty nervous, so he came with me, and Stan Fries was there, and I brought in a huge portfolio full of pictures of my past, of me flying and doing, flying around with the Ringling Brothers and hanging by my neck as a Liberty Bell and riding an elephant and flying on the trapeze at Circus Circus. I flew on the trapeze for about 2.5 years there. Wow. He said, wow. He said, you've had quite a career. And I said, Well, it's, it would be even better if I got to top it off with Tinkerbell.
Boy, short of having real wings, you make the perfect Tinkerbell.
Yeah. Well, at the time I was very small, and I was so nervous about the job that I actually had ended up losing a tremendous amount of weight because I thought she had to be tiny, 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 and I think I weighed about 112 pounds, and actually, it's funny because Stan Freeze goes, well, it does matter how much you weigh, but you do realize that the wire is going to hold about 2,500 pounds. I'm like, oh, you mean I lost all this weight for nothing?
Oh, it's so funny.
And with that, he goes, well, I'll tell you what, since you worked so hard losing weight, even though I'm seeing these pictures, why don't you go ahead and, we kind of want to know what our character is going to look like. He goes, have you brought anything to audition in? And I said, why? Am I going to get to fly? And he goes, well, no, you're not going to get to fly right now. But he said, I can see that you have quite a past. And I had brought some, I think it was really just a leotard and tights.
Okay.
And so I tried them on, and we talked, and, I basically tried to show myself as a Tinkerbell type. That was, basically the audition consisted of us talking, and he just kind of wanted to get a sense of, I don't know, maybe what Tinkerbell is supposed to look like. And at the time, I think I did, because I was so small. Mm-hmm. And so that was it. That was my audition. And after that, I called, I think I called no less than once a week.
Oh.
For 2 months.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah, sure does.
I kept calling the booking office, and I kept saying, well, do they know anything yet? Did they know anything yet? And they said, no, we haven't heard anything yet. And I said, well, how many girls are auditioning? And they said, well, we can't really tell you that. And I said, well, I just really want this job. And they said, we know, Gina. It's like the fifth week now, and you're still calling. And I said, I know. It's just like this would just be my dream. Little did I know that they already knew.
Oh?
I was chosen.
Wow.
And they had not been able to tell me. Now, I think back in those days, they did a background check. I'm sure it wasn't as thorough. Right now, I'm part of, I have Homeland Security clearance for what I do. I don't think it was anything like that, but I think that they ran some kind of a background check on me and wanted to get some more information, and that took time. I mean, they didn't state that to me, but I believe that's what was going on. And they said, well, we knew, Gina, that we had picked you, but we couldn't tell you because we had to jump through a bunch of legal hoops and get paperwork together and get ready to make you an offer. And I said, so you knew every time I called in, you basically knew?
Oh.
And he said, yeah, we did. And I said, well, that's painful. They said, well, we're just really excited to have you here. And I said, no, I'm more excited than you are. And so anyway, that started the whole thing.
Well, wow, that's incredible. And that's like a good life lesson. If you want something, you go for it. I love that about you.
When you
Gina.
wish upon a dream, go for it.
Yeah. Well, let's zoom ahead to your first flight.
Oh boy.
And can you tell us what that was like and what the costume is like? I would love to know what that is like, up close, and how heavy was it?
Well, when I first started, the very first time I took a flight was the scariest flight I had ever had. Well, close to it. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that I had flown on the trapeze and I had done some pretty scary stuff in the circus. When you walk up to the Matterhorn and you get up there and you walk out of the hatch and you stand there on top of the Matterhorn, it doesn't look like it's 160 feet high. It looks like it's 1,000 feet high. So no matter how much I had flown as a circus performer and did what I did and thrown tricks and even missed them, and I even had a scary time when I almost had fallen at Madison Square Gardens out of a aerial ballet trick. And I actually caught the rope 5 feet before I landed, was going to land on the ground. Got a standing ovation, but I didn't do it on purpose.
Wow.
So I stood up there, and they put the harness on me, and I'm in a leotard and tights. I didn't have a costume on yet. This was just the trial run. What they did is they showed me how Tinkerbell, this is what they did. They hung a sandbag off of the trolley on a wire in my proposed weight. So at the time I was only 112 pounds, but I think they set it to like somewhere between 115 and 120 pounds. And they put this sandbag on the wire and they sent it down, and they said, well, we're just, kind of testing the trolley so that they could set it. And so I'm standing there watching them do that, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to be I'm going to be doing that next. So, it was really scary. That was my first time. They hooked me up to the wire. I did not have a costume on. I had leotard and tights.
Okay.
And I can't even tell you how scary it was. It was because I could see everything. It's a lot different when the fireworks are going off and it's dark. And, basically you get tossed off of a mountain, if that's the way you want to see it. And you it becomes very magical, and you get into the character. But on that day, I could see everything, and it was really high, and I was going to fly over rooftops. And although I was very excited, I had a very healthy concern.
Right.
And that was the rehearsal for your first flight, but what about the first flight actually flying over the people?
Being Tinkerbell.
Thinking back to that, I had the costume on that had mirrors. This costume had giant mirrors on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really kind of strange. They had these giant circle mirrors that they had sewn on the costume. And the costume was kind of heavy.
Right.
The wings at that time were, they actually were kind of heavy. They had to insert them through the back, and it was uncomfortable. Right. But all I could think about is that I wanted to be in perfect form. And I remember thinking that was the most important part, was to not only play the character, but to really look like the character. So I remember just closing my eyes and pretending that I was Tinkerbell, just to be part of the magic. I would listen to the music. They had played the music for me when I had rehearsed. And so when they started playing the music, I would just close my eyes and pretend that I was Tinkerbell flying. And it was great. I mean, it was nothing like the rehearsal. It was just like flying over Neverland.
Oh, I'm sure you heard all the audience below you oohing and eyeing, all the little kids going, look, there's Tinkerbell!
Well, I couldn't hear anything. But I couldn't hear, specific anything.
Right, because I'm sure you get the fireworks going off all around you, so how could you hear anything except for explosions?
Yeah, I could hear some, but more than anything, the thought of flying and being a part of that show, and really the magic that goes on below me, was better than anything. Because I know that for myself, I dreamed of doing things like being an aerialist and flying around in the sky. And here was my dream, to not only fly around and be an aerialist, but I got to put a smile on children's faces, and that was the best part of the whole job.
Even today, when Tinkerbell flies during the fireworks show, kids just go crazy when they see Tinkerbell. And now Tinkerbell goes back and forth. Was the flight pattern any different than when you did it?
My flight pattern was a straight shot. It was basically 660 yards.
Yeah.
It's like 2 football fields long.
Wow.
Oh.
It didn't feel like it took very long. I mean, sometimes if the wind was really strong, then the trolley would slow down. So they did adjust my trolley according to the weather. They used to take weather readings.
Yeah.
They would hold up a wind reader, and they would take a wind reading, and if the wind was really strong, they would back up the brakes on the trolley, and so that I would make it across. And of course, there's been times that I didn't make it across.
Oh no! What happened then?
Well, that's when basically the employees had a field day, because they'd be watching me backstage, and they'd be basically taking bets to see if I would make it or not.
That doesn't really inspire confidence in their handiwork.
Yes, let's see if she gets stuck tonight. I really had to rely a lot on my crew, my crew was fabulous. These were people that had, they worked in show services, and they were always concerned with my safety. And because they really paid attention to keeping me safe.
Right.
And more than anything, I think my aerial past was a huge asset.
Wow, so what happened that one night where you didn't quite make it all the way across? What happened?
Like, how did they get you down?
And what did you do to cover for it?
We had talked about this, of course, before even starting the show. All those questions came up. One of the reasons I brought my ex-husband in, Richard Rock, was because they wanted to find, he knew a lot about rigging. He used to catch his brother on the trapeze, and he used to set up trapeze riggings, and they brought him in to see what his input was on the wire and the setup, and what he thought would be a consideration. So they talked quite a bit with him about the braking system and all that. And they realized, too, that they needed a backup in a way to figure out how to get me if I got stuck, if there was a headwind. So somebody there came up with a really bad idea.
Oh, no.
And so, I'm not saying it was a horrible idea, but it didn't make any sense. So what they did is they put this... You know how you see like people hang their clothes up on the clothesline?
Right.
And actually, it's really cool because your clothes smell better when you hang it on a clothesline. Anyway, I grew up in that age. So it looked like a clothesline, and it was really long, and it was on my side, and it was in like this little pouch. And for some reason, they thought I was going to be able to open up this pouch and throw this thing. Either throw it to the tower, or...
What are you, Batman all of a sudden?
Yeah, basically, that I was going to become a different character. Or I was going to, drop it and let it go down to the roof, and they were going to pull me. I don't know what they were thinking.
Wow.
All I know is that I was thinking, this isn't going to work.
Wow.
One day, there was a really heavy headwind. I think it was about 18 miles an hour.
Wow.
Now, they're supposed to back off the trolley in order to compensate for the headwind. But they did back it off, but not enough. So the furthest I ever got stuck was about a little past halfway.
Oh, wow.
Now, so you're thinking, okay, so it's 2 football fields long, and I'm stuck out there. I get to the end of the football field, and I'm stuck.
Uh-oh.
got another football field to go. So what I did is I used my aerial instinct, and I kind of not threw my body, but I toggled myself up to grab the wire.
Oh.
That makes sense.
And so I wasn't going to play around with that rope. Because it just wasn't going to happen. I was going to make a fool out of myself. So the only thing I could think of, and it's always this thing that we have in our head, the show must go on. I think I'm sure you've heard the term.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I could think about. The show must go on. So I grabbed the wire, and I still pretended like I was flying, and I pulled myself in, and I pointed my toes. I just struck that pose that that is so more importantly like Tinkerbell, and pointed my toes and pulled myself in.
Wow.
And that's what I did.
Earlier, when you said that they had to have a backup, I thought you meant they had to have a backup Tinkerbell in case one dropped. They have a whole line of Tinkerbells right behind you. Hey, Margaret Carey, you're up!
Yeah, she would have been up. So.
Wow. Is there any video on that?
I hope not.
So you're like just pulling yourself like you would if you're on Mission Impossible. You're just trying to pull yourself from hand over hand over hand. Is that how you did it?
Yeah, when you see them doing like it's a rope slide.
Right.
That's when they take the leather piece. And yeah, they just kind of go forward down the wire. Yeah, it's very much like that.
Okay. How interesting.
Yes.
That brings to mind, how did you manage like the wings, and what were they made of?
You know what? I had so many different pairs of wings. It's really hard to keep track of, but I think at the time, actually, when I think about it, I think those first sets were not the super heavy ones. I had the light ones when I first started, and they were a little bit floppy, I remember.
Ah, yeah.
But then a couple of years later, they came up with this crazy set of wings where, how do I explain this? It was kind of like two pieces of metal where they slipped in these two pieces of metal down the back of my costume.
Oh.
And to hold the wings on me, and they were really stiff. And they were not comfortable.
Right.
And then here's the fun part. All the different wands I had. Oh my goodness.
Oh, fun.
Do you still have any of these wands?
No, of course not. I would never be allowed to take the equipment, but if I could have, it would have been a blast. I could have opened up a Tinkerbell museum. But I think I have one in my house anyway, because I have a lot of Tinkerbell memorabilia. But no, we were, of course, never allowed to have that. They did allow me to take my shoes.
Oh.
A few sets of shoes. But other than that, I was not allowed to take the costume. And over the years, I had all these different wands. One year, I had a Darth Vader wand.
What?
What?
You had a lightsaber? You were Jedi Tink?
Yes.
You were Sith Tink? Uh-oh.
Yes. I was Jedi Tink. I was.
Oh my gosh!
Well, she had Darth Vader's lightsaber, so she must have been Sith Tink because Sarah over here.
Oh, well, yeah. Like, I
She created this character, and that's the mascot for Skywalking to Neverland, Jedi Tink.
So you were Jedi Tink before I was Jedi Tink?
Yes, I was, and that's so funny that you would correlate it to that. But yes, that's what it felt like. They're all laughing. And my crew was like, this is the wrong character. What are you doing with this saber thing? This is crazy. So, yeah, it lit up. It was like this glow-in-the-dark wand, and it looked just like it. It was crazy. I mean, okay, so we got to talk about the really crazy wand that made me swing around in a circle.
Okay.
This wand looked like the Statue of Liberty wand. That's what we called it. It was the Statue of Liberty wand. This thing weighed about 20 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
20 pounds, wow.
I had to, not literally, but it was really heavy. And it was really hard to use. So what would happen is, and I worked out a lot, but I would have to work out to keep that thing, steady. It would swing me around. So here I am trying to stabilize on the wire and be all graceful, like Tinkerbell. And I couldn't, because as soon as I would raise the wand, it would swing me around.
Like your balance would be off kilter because of the wand, right?
Oh, totally. It was terrible. What they're doing now with Tinkerbell is basically what I was doing then, and it was not built for that. It wasn't built for swinging around in a circle.
That's hilarious, but I'm sure pretty scary at the time.
Well, we basically just, my crew and I, it was great because we had a lot of say in things. We would tell them, it's just not practical. It's just like, let's talk about one of my wigs.
Okay.
One of the wigs that I wore, it had to have been the size of the Mad Hatter's hat.
That's pretty big.
It was huge. This thing was huge. It was an embarrassment when people wanted to take pictures of me, like when I got down off of the, flying. Sometimes people would want to come take a picture that worked there, like if they were in management or something. I was totally embarrassed because this thing was huge. It was like 4 times the size of my head. Said, well, Gina, it has to look like that because you're so high up there. And I said, I'm sure it does, but this is really embarrassing. So over the years, it was different wands and different wigs and different wings. And one year, they lit me all up. Everything.
Yes.
It had wires going down my arms, and I had to push buttons. Not only did I have to fly like Tinkerbell and be graceful, but when I left to start flying, I had to turn all these buttons on to get the lights going.
I think I remember that. I remember seeing you because I've seen you fly, and I remember the light up thing because you would only light up after you took off.
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, this thing, I had to time it. So instead of being the graceful Tinkerbell that, meditated a little bit and pretended like I was in Neverland, I kind of felt like I was Toy Story, or I was...
Like Buzz Lightyear?
Yes. I was like this big light-up toy. So... it was fun. I mean, look, it's many, many years of trying to figure out what they can do with the costume. And
wow.
From what I understand, they have Dumbo flying now or all kinds of strange things. And they kept telling me that I might end up to be one of those, like wearing one of those crazy costumes. And on that note, there was a year when during Halloween, I had to dress up like a witch and ride a broom.
Oh my
gosh! I didn't know they
fun.
did that.
Yes, I don't remember what year it was. I should have kept a diary.
The stories, yeah.
Certainly, Joshua Schaefer would have been in heaven. He didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, I just knew about Zero from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
A Nightmare Before Christmas. I know they have Zero flying back and forth, but I never knew they had a witch.
Yes, well, I think it was 2 years in a row, 2 Halloweens in a row. It was really fun, though. We got to wear these masks, and we had to hold the broom like we were flying on it.
Wow. Do you know what years?
I'm trying to remember. I thinking back, it might have been 89, maybe, or 89 and 90. That's a really good question to ask Joshua. Let's see if Joshua can dig up some more trivia.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I want to see a picture of that, and I want to see a picture of you holding Darth Vader's lightsaber.
Yeah.
So that's like Disney saying, hey, in a few years, guess what we're going to be doing? We're going to be buying Darth Vader. So we see what we're doing here.
It would be really interesting to see where all that equipment went, and I'm sure that they have it somewhere.
Yeah. Have you heard of what they're doing next year for Pixar Fest? They're actually going to have Buzz Lightyear taking over Tinkerbell's position.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, starting April 13th.
To infinity and beyond.
When they took out, I'll never forget this. When they took out the electrical parade for a couple of years.
Yes.
Do you know how many letters they got?
Oh, millions, I'm sure.
Oh, it was so bad that they had to put it back.
Yeah, Disney fans do not like change.
No pun intended. I don't think that's gonna fly.
Oh,
That's the funniest thing you said.
rim shot.
Yeah. I don't think that's gonna work. You know, it was really special. I feel, you know, really honored to have done it. I'd like to talk a little bit about what I'm doing now because this helps me with my history.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
I'm not getting any younger. So I've been in disaster recovery for 12 years. I was doing individual assistance where I would help folks that lost their homes and their personal items in their homes, and I would go in there. I was a contractor for FEMA, and I would help them with try to get some help to recover. So I did that for 12 years, and then I took a little bit of time off. I've been at USC. I'm a late graduate. I have one more semester at USC.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I graduated with my emergency management degree in 2015, and then USC talked me into getting into geospatial intelligence. So actually, that's right along the lines because here I am, it's spatial. So everything I've done in my career has something to do with space. Yeah. So what does that tell you? So anyway, I took a little bit of time off recently, and I had worked for a firm called Parsons Brinkerhoff Engineering. So I decided to keep that up and see if I could keep going with my career in disaster recovery, which is a fabulous occupation. You get to help folks, and you meet a lot of really interesting people. You do a lot of traveling. And right now I'm with a company called CH2M, and it's another engineering firm. But now I'm doing public assistance, and I'm actually helping cities and states and recovery with police stations and city halls. And right now I'm working on a project for the Port Authority with HUD. And this is a very important project. This is the HUD, and it's fabulous. I feel like I'm really helping people and helping people recover and get back into their homes, and it's a fabulous occupation. First I was able to delight children, and now I get to help folks that lose everything.
Yeah, you really have made a life of making people happy.
Yeah, it's special.
Yeah. So can you tell us about any personal stories about who you've helped and what kind of terms?
Basically, I started at Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
I decided to go back in 2003, and I was taking a physical geography class, which I fell in love with. And he said, "Well, what do you think about trying to be a disaster housing inspector?" And I said, "What is that?" And he said, "Well, basically you get to help folks when the president declares a disaster, and go into their homes and help them, pick up their lives." And I'm still doing it.
And you've even written a book, right? Post-disaster art therapy?
What that is I went into, when I was doing my inspections, children, do you guys have kids?
No.
We do not.
We have bunnies.
Okay. At some point when you have children, you'll find out that when they're between the age of 4 and about 7, they don't like you talking on the phone. They don't like you hanging out with your friends, and they want all of the attention. So basically, when I would go into a house, it was very difficult to get to be able to run the inspection if I didn't have the attention of the parent, because the child, would feel disconnected. So I decided to get the kids involved. And one day I said, there was a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, and I think a 4-year-old. And I said, hey, do you guys have any crayons? And they said, yeah. And I said, how about some paper? And they said, yeah. And I said, how would you like to draw me a picture of what happened to your house? And what occurred is the kids got really excited about it, and they made me these really cool pictures of course it wasn't cool because it was a disaster. But whatever was depicted in the picture had something to do with the disaster, such as, they would draw a house and it would show flooding, or, it would show them losing something in the water or a little boat there. And I found that not only did the children enjoy, putting their feelings down on paper about post-disaster, but the parents loved it. The parents, it would put a smile on their face because their kids were venting their feelings on paper, and they were just proud to, have their children drawing. And when I would ask for the picture, I'd ask for their permission to take it with me, and everybody's face would light up. So here I was again with pixie dust, and I felt like I was doing something for children.
Wow.
Well, you must have been really busy these last few months with all the hurricanes and disasters.
Well, like I said, I had worked in individual assistance for quite a long time, but now what's really fun is I'm now working in public assistance, and this involves people that have vast backgrounds as engineers and hydrologists and structural engineers and people that have some very serious professions that involve a lot of schooling. And they've spent, a good amount of years learning, honing their skills. And they've been brought into these projects, and I've been able to meet some fabulously talented people. So once again, I'm in a career that not only do I love, but I get to meet very exciting people and people that have a lot of knowledge about things that I would never know about unless they, introduced it. So Tinkerbell I kind of feel like when I put the wand in my hand and started sprinkling fairy dust all over the place, that was my life. It was a part of my life. The pixie dust and my imagination and my will to keep trying all kinds of fun occupations and things that are exciting and knowledge. It started with that wand.
Well, you've made a whole life of, once again, making people very happy and helping them along the way. And what you're doing with these people who just need help right now and getting their personal lives together. Wow, you should get like Nobel Peace Prize, bronze statue somewhere.
Well, that's funny that you should bring up the statue because that was like the running joke. I'm sure you guys know that if somebody works at Disneyland for 25 years,
yes,
they get a Tinkerbell. So they had, we were not independent contractors, but we were casual seasonal employees for many, many years. We didn't become actual, when they started flying Tinkerbell very often. I started out only working in the summer, and then I started working in April, and then it just started getting earlier and earlier every year, and then they made us employees. I was never going, unless I did it and was still doing it now, I never would have had the bronze Tinkerbell, and I'm never going to get it. So if anybody wants to donate one to me, I would love to have it because my crew, some of the guys on my crew, they had worked there for 25 and 30 years and they have them. And I actually met the guy who makes them.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's a guy who does the molds for that I had met. My sister-in-law, who was my sub Tinkerbell, and several years later started doing it half the time. She knew the gentleman who was making them. Wow. And I said, oh, come on, let's try to get one.
Yeah.
You were Tinkerbell for 21 years. They couldn't let this one slide?
Oh, I just, it would be an honor to have one. Trust me. Yeah, maybe someday somebody will donate their 25 years and let me have one. But
or the guy could do an extra casting of a Tinkerbell statue and go, oops, we lost it somewhere. Don't know where it went.
Honorary.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping, I know Joshua has been working on trying to get me into the Guinness Book of World Records, and that is really my goal. I'd like to be in there.
Oh, there you go. Do you have any personal appearances coming up where fans can talk to you about your Tinkerbell experiences?
Well, this is what we've been leaning towards. It's been an honor to work with Joshua. He got a hold of me about a year ago, and we just started talking, and he got so excited about my career, and I'm like, maybe you should just be my public relations manager. I said, you're so enthusiastic. And so he's been leaning towards possibly getting me out there to talk to people. I am writing a book about things I have done in my life. And of course, there is an emphasis on Tinkerbell. But unfortunately, what's been happening to me, and I actually have started 4 books.
Oh, wow.
But between going to college and working anywhere between 8 and 15 hours a day for this many years, I've been in college for 7. And then I've been traveling all over the country. I've been to 32 states in 12 years. And now it's 33 with what I'm doing now. So I haven't had time, and I write the books in between. I'm writing another diet book. It's a comedy diet book. And I'm writing that. That's almost done. Wow. And Josh was trying to push me. He's like, come on, you got to get the Tinkerbell one out. And I'm like, so, yeah, I'm hoping that at some point between now and 101, I'll get done.
Well, if anyone can get you into any conventions, it's going to be Josh.
Joshua.
Yeah. Josh is the man.
He's great. He's great. It's been so much fun working with him, and I hope I get to continue. His books are fabulous, and it's such an honor to be in his second book.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap things up, do you have any advice for anyone wanting to be an iconic Disney performer?
I think, really, if you want something, that you can make it happen. You have to really, really want it. And if you really want something bad enough, you can make it happen. It's you can make your own magic. I think it's very special to work at Disneyland. I think being any character in the park is very special, and I think everybody that works there is special. They make everybody feel a part of the show, and my recommendation is get in any way you can and work, because it is a magical place to work.
Yeah, that is a great place to wrap things up, and I hope people will really listen to your advice and go for it.
Yeah. Now, if our Skywalkers want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
Basically, I stick with the professional part of LinkedIn. So if they would like to find out anything about me, of course, if they want any information about Tinkerbell, they'll have to contact Joshua Schaefer. But it states that on LinkedIn. I update my LinkedIn quite a bit. It shows what I'm doing right now, who I'm working for. It will show this podcast when you air the podcast. I'll be placing that on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Oh, good deal. And we'll put Josh Schaefer's social media links in our show notes too.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, he's fabulous. I'd love for him to be the person that they contact. Okay. If they want me to do any special appearances, just contact Joshua and he'll set that up.
Well,
Okay.
thank you very much. And there's a way we always wrap up our shows, and this ties directly into Tinkerbell,
Yes.
and that is
Neverland on Alderaan.
Or the Matterhorn during a very windy night.
Day.
Well, thank you so much, and I'll see you in Neverland.
Shout-outs, Skywalker shout-outs. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout-out. Who was photobombed? Shout-out. Who was shared a post? Shout-out.
Shoutouts this week come mostly from Twitter. So we had a bunch of awesome Skywalkers tweet out their Skywalker selfies. So hashtag Skywalker selfie is a really fun hashtag to follow. And Reynold Gobiel, he tweeted a Skywalker selfie of himself opening a new MacBook.
Wait a minute, did you say he was opening this
He was
MacBook?
Opening the package.
Ugh.
Yes, and he said, "Sorry, Sithrich, it had to be done."
No, it didn't have to be done. Come on, Reynold, I thought you were on my side with this. You leave things in the package.
And you know what? Apple packaging is so pretty. I almost understand it.
You know what? You just proved my point. You're vandalizing this awesome artwork and packaging. Even though the Apple packaging is all white?
Yes,
Stark white?
it is.
But still, look at the way it's wrapped and sealed. Why would you want to vandalize that?
You know what's funny about that?
What is so funny about that?
I've opened all my Apple packages, but each iPhone that we've gotten, and even down to our, I think back when iPods were a thing, you know, no one has iPods anymore, but back when I still have the packaging for all of that, and it's up in one of our closets.
I still haven't opened up my first iPod because it's still in the packaging. I don't believe in being a vandal.
You know what?
Hashtag stop being a vandal.
Oh, look! I even have my little earphones in their little cute package.
In their packaging. See, that's the way it was meant to be.
Wow, I have an extra pair of earphones in here. Oh my gosh.
Leave them by the front door.
I will.
All right. You know what? This is getting me aggravated. Reynold,
Okay.
I know you meant well, and I know you had to use the MacBook, so I'll let this one go. But in the future, when you get expensive computer equipment, do not open it.
or just show Richard pictures of cute bunnies, and you're good to go.
Oh, bunnies.
Yes.
Okay.
You're good.
Where were we now?
Okay, we're moving on to our second Skywalker selfie of the week, and that is Amanda Bakken. And she tweeted, "Bosses announced my promotion today, so I was super nervous, but I am surviving the day at work by listening to Skywalking Pod."
Oh.
Isn't that sweet?
That is very, very
and a
sweet.
picture of herself in her office. So congratulations on your new promotion, Amanda.
Yeah, but why were you super nervous? You should be super excited.
Yeah, I know. But, well, we're very happy for you.
Unless they didn't tell you it was a promotion, and they just said, "Hey, Amanda, could you step into my office and close the door behind you?"
Oh, I hate that. I hate that phrase. You use that on me.
All the time.
But now I use it on you because
Yes,
I
you
have
do.
an office.
It's very, very scary.
It is.
Flashbacks to my grammar school years. I was told that on a daily basis.
Uh-oh, step into your office. Wait, which grammar school teacher has an office?
Oh, by the principal.
Oh.
Rich, you gotta stop with the Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
You gotta broaden your horizons. Nope. Not gonna happen. In 40 years, I'm gonna have a podcast. Where are you gonna be? And I would get up and close the door right behind me.
Awesome.
There you go. That's justice.
It is. All right.
Take that, Mrs. Cotty.
Wow. All right. Well, guess what?
What?
We have a new iTunes review.
A new
And
iTunes
by
review?
new, I mean 2 years old. And by an iTunes review, I mean iTunes review from the UK.
Oh, so there
iTunes.
we go. So we never read these, so
I
in fact,
know.
these are new to us.
This is very exciting. So, this one is titled Skywalking to Awesomeness by Sir Jedi Jamie. And I thought this was fun. It was 5 stars, and Sir Jedi Jamie says, Hey everyone! I've been listening for a long time now and enjoyed every episode so far. For me, this has everything you need if you're a Star Wars fan and a Disney fan all rolled into one. And with your hosts, Richard and Sarah, they bring the fun, and will keep you entertained with film news and park news and, of course, the great jingles, which I can't get out of my head. Keep up the awesomeness.
Shout-outs.
That was like the best run-on sentence ever.
Skywalker shout-outs. Yeah, once those songs are played, forget it.
Yes.
In your head.
So, thank you, Sir Jedi Jamie. I like your name.
I wonder who that is, and I wonder if they're still listening to us.
I know. Yeah, it's so fun to bring up these old reviews and see who's like still listening or... Yeah.
When you hear the name Jamie, what do you think of? Lannister.
Oh.
Maybe.
Sir.
Maybe Jamie.
With the Sir and the Jamie?
Yeah, maybe Mr. Lannister's a fan of Skywalking to Neverland. Wouldn't surprise me.
No, not at all. Oh, that's funny.
He's got to unwind sometimes.
It's true. Well, you know what, Skywalkers? We love your Skywalker selfies. So, stop whatever you're doing. Go click, take a selfie, and then post on social media your hashtag Skywalker selfie, and let us know what you're doing while you listen. I love the variety that we get.
Most of them are in their cars.
Well, no, some people are at work. We've gotten some from Australia. You know, they're on the Gold Coast of Australia.
Maybe it's just Rick Peralta, always in his car.
In his car, yes, he's in his car. Which makes sense. I listen to a lot of podcasts in my car.
Right, hopefully he's at a red light, but if you're not, so be it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yes,
priorities.
And the Hunt family, sometimes he takes pictures while he's out gardening. So, yeah, it just depends. It's fun. What do you do while you're listening to podcasts?
I'm driving in the car. Missing exits.
Yeah, you are. I can never go to sleep when you're driving because invariably if I don't pay attention to the road, you miss the exit.
One of us is gonna drive, one of us is gonna navigate.
Yeah. Except when I'm driving, I'm navigating and you're sleeping.
Well, all right. All right, you know what? Let's move on to the Skywalker of the Week. 2 weeks in a row. We got Rob Dellinger right where we want him.
Thank you, Rob. And our Skywalker of the Week, well, here it is.
Benjamin Spears, Benjamin Spears, Benjamin Spears.
Congratulations, Benjamin!
This is another one that's been a long time
coming
in the waiting.
Yeah, I believe he in the Canada iTunes had written us a review from 2 or even 3 years ago.
Well, the list is long, okay?
It is. So thank you, Benjamin Spears. You are now the Skywalker of the Week. And if you want to be the Skywalker of the Week, Skywalkers, all you have to do is tweet out your Skywalker selfie, say something nice about the show, share the show on social media so that we can be heard by new listeners, because that's how we stay alive.
Or come over to us at a Disney theme park and say, hey, like this Friday, we're going to be at Disneyland.
And hopefully we'll have our buttons by then, because I did get a shipping notice of the Porg BB-8 Mickey ear buttons.
Nice. So Friday, March. Why are you saying March?
I'm not sure why you're saying
I
March.
I don't know.
Because the review is in March.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay.
All right, so November 17th, we will be at Disneyland right here in Anaheim.
Yes.
As they unveil the new Star Tours segment where we're introduced to Crate from The Last Jedi.
Yes, so excited about this. So we will be there, and we'll also be taking in the new holiday fun, Christmas stuff.
Who will be the first Skywalker to get a new Porg pin?
Oh. We'll see. Well, before we wrap up this episode, I want to start a new segment, which is Where We Will Be.
Name pending.
Name pending, yes. Where in the galaxy is Carmen Sandiego? No.
Well, dating yourself.
Oh, I know. I love those music. Okay.
So, let's start off by saying on Sunday...
Where are you getting this March?
So let's start off with Sunday, November 26th. We're going to be at LosCon Convention in Los Angeles. Now, we're going to be doing 2 panels on that Sunday, November 26th. And if you're in the area, please come down to the Marriott Los Angeles Airport. You're not going to want to miss this convention because it's being run by Craig Miller, the one-time Lucasfilm marketing coordinator and head of fan relations. And since he is a chairman of the con, there will be a lot of Star Wars panels.
Yeah, if you even go to LosCon.org, the website, it's promoting the 40th anniversary of Star Wars.
So this really excites me because on November 24th, which is the Friday at 2:30, Howard Chaykin's going to be there.
Whoa.
Howard Chaykin, the artist who drew the first couple of classic Marvel Star Wars comics covers.
Yeah, I recognize that name.
And if you heard our last episode of classic Marvel Star Wars comics, he can be kind of, what's the word? Curmudgeon?
Grumpy?
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to talking to you, Mr. Chaykin, and seeing what's up.
Seeing if you can ungrump him?
Yeah. All right. Now, the same day, November 24th, Friday, at 5:30, there's going to be a panel behind the scenes at ILM celebrating Star Wars 40th anniversary in 3D.
Whoa.
So there's an ILM artist named Chris Cassidy. I don't fully understand what he had done, but from what I gathered back in 1976 and 77 when they were making Star Wars, he was taking 3D photos just to experiment.
Wow.
As experimentations while they were making films because they had a lot of downtime.
Okay.
And 40 years later, he's showing us what he had done in 3D.
Oh, cool. So we'll probably hear a little intro from him and then watch what he created?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, oh, I'm so looking forward to this.
Wow.
Now, on the next day, Saturday, November 25th, at 4 o'clock, there's going to be a panel making Star Wars with Craig Miller, Mickey Herman, who had been with Lucasfilm since the very beginning. You'll see her name in a lot of credits, and a potential future guest. What? Chris Cassidy and Mark Marshall, who was a production assistant on The Empire Strikes Back, and another future guest on Skywalking Through Neverland. What?
How fun.
And then on the next day, the 26th, which is Sunday, at 10 a.m., we'll be doing Skywalking Through Neverland, is celebrating 40 years of your fandom. The panel we did at Celebration Orlando with some changes.
Oh yeah, definitely changes, definitely different. Well, not a different focus, obviously the same focus.
But updating it.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people who didn't get a chance to go to Orlando. And in that panel, there was a lot of trivia. People won a lot of prizes. And once again, we have a lot of prizes to give away there. And at 2:30, when we do the Skywalking Through Neverland Presents Force Fun Challenges.
And those are games. There's trivia games, there's fun games, and it's all like group stuff. It's going to be really fun.
If you've seen Hollywood Game Night, then it's along those lines. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope a lot of Skywalkers get a chance to make it out there.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
And once again, lots of prizes.
Lots and lots of prizes. And our buttons. We'll be bringing our buttons, you guys. Super excited to hand those out.
So once again, our panels will be on Sunday, November 26th at the LosCon convention. And like Sarah, you just said, you can go to loscon.org and get all the information right there.
You know what? I'm just seeing this, but a panel at 10 a.m. on Saturday, the music of Star Wars. So there's a panel about the music of Star Wars.
There's a lot of panels.
Yeah, there's a lot of music panels and cool stuff.
And there's a few more Star Wars panels there.
Awesome. Yeah, so if you come, Skywalkers, there's plenty of Star Wars fun to be had, as well as some Firefly things, some gaming, some all kinds of cool. Hollywood Sound Museum.
Building your own R2-D2.
Whoa!
All right, before we get into all that, there's so much going on there. All right, so where will we be in December, Sarah?
All right, December 30th, 2017. You know what? We're going to be in Boston.
Natick to narrow that down.
Well, yes, but we're going to be in Boston over the holidays, and so usually we have a Skywalker meetup at Downtown Disney to celebrate the latest new Star Wars film out, because there's a new one like every year now. And so this time, since we're going to be near Boston, we are going to have The Last Jedi screening and Skywalker meetup at Jordan's Furniture IMAX in Natick. So we are heading to the 7 p.m. showing of The Last Jedi in 3D, and tickets are available now to purchase. So, so buy your tickets now to join us.
And huge thanks to Amanda Bakken, who really got this all together.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions about events, Skywalkers, all you have to do is go to Facebook our Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook page. And there you can go to the events tab and you'll see these events are all in there with all the details lined up and the links to click for tickets and everything like that.
Well, plus the week of December 11th, we'll be at the Mans Grauman's Chinese Theater General Cinema at Cleveland Circle in Newton Corner.
So they don't like Mans, or Grauman's, so Chinese Theater IMAX. TCL.
The TCL Theater IMAX. We'll be down there all week long.
Yes.
Doing a lot of stuff, including the Force Fun Challenge games as well.
Yay!
A lot of stuff going on leading up to the 14th, December 14th, where we get to see the midnight showing, which is at 7 p.m. of The Last Jedi with liningup.net.
Yes. And actually right now, donations, you can donate now to liningup.net. So if you have questions about that, and that is, of course, a donation to Starlight Children's Foundation, which is an amazing, amazing charity that we love.
So, lots of chances to meet up with our Skywalking family. So with that, let's wrap up episode 191 of Skywalking Through Neverland. This just in, we got a message on Facebook from our guest next week, who is excited to do the show. And let's just say he worked on the Star Wars Holiday Special.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
The 39th anniversary is coming next week, and we've been communicating with another holiday special guest.
Wow.
Someone on the inside. Oh, so exciting. Okay, where were we? We want to thank Gina Rock. We want to thank Josh Schaefer. And, of course, all you Skywalkers who listen every single week.
And as a reminder, we have our new Porg BB-8 Mickey Ears button design, which is now on TeePublic, because woohoo, you can upload designs to TeePublic, and then all of a sudden they become shirts, or stickers, or totes, or mugs, or pillows, or like anything you want. It's so exciting. So TeePublic is having a sale now through Cyber Monday. So this is the week to buy, Skywalkers. And remember, we have all our other designs too. Like, let's say you were just named Skywalker of the Week. We have that design. We have our Skywalking logo design. We have Chewie and the Porg's Halloween shirt. We have BB-8 Mickey ears. Like, there's so many designs. So it's really fun, and it's a really great way to show your support to our show.
Right on.
And
right on.
Fandom in general, really.
And another way they can support the show is to go over there to YouTube.
Oh, that's right. Our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We are youtube.com/Skywalking Through Neverland. And when we have some cool videos from Disneyland or some fun press things that we attend.
Press conferences.
Like press conferences, thank you, from movies and things. We post those there.
Now, we are a part of RetroZap.com, where you can find awesome articles and shows like Brews and Blasters.
Warp Trails. That's the show that the Keithleys put on.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's about the new Star Trek Discovery.
Oh.
And I think they also talk the Orville as well.
Oh.
I know.
All right, another subscriber right here.
Yeah.
You can hear Beltway Banthas, the Deucecast movie show,
Starship Sabers and Scoundrels,
Techno Retro Dads, and Talking Apes TV, where we had a guest over yesterday in the Skywalking Through Neverland Talking Apes TV studios, and we talked with Bobby Porter, who was in Planet of the Apes and Revenge of the Jedi.
And I was in the next room, and you guys, it's really fun.
What? Revenge of the Jedi? Listen and find out.
Yes.
He was in Newsies, he was in E.T. So many stories. We did two separate interviews for two different shows and two totally different sets of stories.
You guys, he worked 4 times with Robin Williams and had some stories.
Yeah, get a box of tissues, because
ripped my heart out.
Tears will be shed.
Yeah. All right.
Now, you can also find us over there at jedinews.co.uk. But Sarah, if people want to reach out to us on social media, where would they go?
Well, you can always put your hashtag Skywalker selfie on Twitter and tag us. We are at SkywalkingPod. We are also at SkywalkingPod on Instagram. And Richard, you are at SithRich. And I am at Jedi Tink. And Skywalkers, if you want to get to know other Skywalkers and also weigh in on topics that we talk about a lot, just head to our Facebook group, which is a fabulous place. It's very fun. It's very family friendly. And you can search Facebook for Skywalking Through Neverland group. That'll pop up. You can request to join. It is a closed group. And then please answer the 2 questions that pop up. You must answer the questions before we can let you in.
You have some very tough security out there. Donald and Joey and Patty.
Yep.
They will not let you in until you answer those very simple questions.
It's true.
All right, now let's ask everyone once again to head over there to iTunes and leave us a review. I'm not going to tell you how many stars. Just be honest and tell us what you think.
That's
Always
right.
good to hear. Whether you're from America, Norway, Australia, Canada, doesn't matter. We want to hear from you. All right, now with that, stay tuned for bits of the conversation that didn't quite make it into the show, and some bloopers, and maybe some hashtag. Maybe Sarah swore, maybe she didn't.
What? I don't
But
know.
We'll hear that in just a few minutes. But with that, as always, always remember...
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
To our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said. Is this 191?
Yeah.
You know,
Last week was 190. I
right,
know, we're like a week
because
ahead
we're working on
planning.
193 right now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Christopher Marino, hi.
191 seems like a thing of the past.
Yeah.
So long ago.
It does, but we're still working on it. And
Yes.
it's going to be
It's like
out
when
this
the
week.
Rebels voice cast records an episode, and when
Right.
it finally airs.
It's like a year later.
A year
for
later,
them.
people are asking them questions as if they did it last week. It's like,
Right.
that was a year ago. I don't know.
Patty Hammond is watching at the oil change place.
If we had a nickel for everyone who said that. You know what? Let me do this and I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay? Well, I know
Wait,
what...
you said let me do this and I'll do that.
And the problem is... Hey, Mark Arsenal!
Yeah. Oh, Christopher Marino says, when I worked at Disneyland, you could hear the flying Tink hit the mat when they were going too fast. Whoa.
Now, a lot of people have been posting some great stuff on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
Randy Martinez is championing a Star Wars meets Planet of the Apes combo. Oh, I'm all for that. And Randy also mentioned a Jedi versus Aliens if 20th Century Fox is sold to Disney. Aliens in the Star Wars universe. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, we're especially designing a lot of these games as we speak.
Yeah, we got some prints. Well, bleh. Yeah. I don't know what I was going to add to that. Mark Hamill interview from Disney. Did we get that? No.
No.
We didn't know he'd be there.
Of course.
I know.
Of course.
We saw that.
If I was on that Star Tours speeder and Mark Hamill was there, it's like, no, I don't want to pick that one. I'll go to the next one.
Right? Oh, yeah, because you'd pick the wrong one.
Yeah, here's that guy again. I'm going to stop complaining about not being the rebel spy.
Man.
Here's one more thing to complain about.
There have been many incarnations of Tinkerbell. Bleh.